Okay, this is the second part of your first day, and I'll just get myself to that part. You may have already completed your discussion. If not, and you've read through everything, and then are going to return to complete these tasks. The important course information. There'll be a video that I'm producing. And the link will be here. I'm making it right now, so that's why it's not there. In addition, I've given some written instructions. So you may choose to just, you're saying, I don't need the video. I'm just going to go through and do the written instructions, and that's fine too. This is just me trying to make sure you're 100% successful. This is an important one for you as far as you need to know how you're going to be evaluated in this course, what the expectations of this course, and how the course will be run. So again, I'm not going to read through this. You're going to read through this, but I'm going to give you some instructions on um, this first day. Uh, Students sometimes find this a little bit dry, and it can be. I just want you to know where it is, okay? So that you can refer to it, because you might get midway through the course, you're like, hey, I'm wondering about how I'm assessed in that way. And it's, you know, 11 o'clock at night, and I'm not going to respond. And so then you can go find the answers to those questions that you have. So this next section is under the content. So you notice I clicked on resources, and then there's a content selection here. Uh, Again, I am in teacher mode, so there's things that are showing up here that are um, not important to you. When you open your page, you're just going to see the stuff that I want you to see, and I'm going to keep each day. I'm going to keep adding information. It makes it really doable when you just get little bits of information at a time. So the course information is really important, and some will look at it and they'll go, I'm not interested in. First of all, you need to make sure that you're in the right course. And this is not only is it a college chemistry course, but it is also is an e-learning course, which means we don't ever do, there's not a live teaching session, but there is, um, we can still have face-to-face communication if for help, or if you have questions. There's a final interview. So I still use Teams, but there's not a scheduled class time. So that means I'm going to post things first thing. It's programmed for 12:01 release on the day, and there's 24 hours. It's always available beyond that time, but ideally you should be completing it in the day. So you have 24 hours to complete that assignment. I have 24, usually within 24 hours, I'll respond. So when you have a question, you don't get a response right away, which I get into. I'm kind of jumping the gun here, a little bit excited. So course description, syllabus, that's like the units of the course. And we will be following through these. They're based on the Ministry of Education documents. Assessment typically is one very personal for students, very important for students. So it's very clear here, and I do follow these guidelines. Same idea that you do in classroom. 70% is your term work, 30% is the final, which I explain here, right here, final grade. This term work is the hard stuff. It's the day-to-day stuff. It's the assignments I'm going to be giving you. Um, and you'll see that certainly as you go through the course. What is important to note that with this e-learning course, 30% is at final assessment, and it used to be in class, it would be an exam and a final task culminating idea, different names for it, but some would make you do like a study note, or you might do a presentation, or so for e-learning it becomes a little more challenging. But how I do the complete that task is I do two things, and one of them is actually an interview where we get on Teams, and it's not uh, it is. I think it's easy, but I know that for students they don't feel that same way. It's just you're sharing your notes and what you've done throughout the course. And if you have concerns about that, please talk to me, and I can even practice with you, and so that you're not concerned about that, although assessment always has some stress to it. And another one is the second part is a summary of experiments. I call it a recipe book because you are in chemistry. We are doing some experiments. You'll be watching some videos, making some observations, and um, you will be generating kind of a booklet of your experiments. So, and again, I go through and I help you with all that as we go through the course. I will be doing some learning skills assessment. The first one is the discussion that I mentioned earlier. And this is you're familiar with this, with our assessment. You can read through that if you need more information on it. Course materials, you need to read through this. And some students um, are surprised, but I do require that you have webcam accessibility, that you have a microphone. I mean, you don't need a headset, but you need to have a microphone because sometimes your computer one, um, actually, I shouldn't say that. Computer ones are very, very good. If your microphone works well on your computer, then no worries. If it doesn't, you may have to go to borrow some headphones or something like that. But we can help you. You just need to tell us. If you say, hey, this isn't working on my system, then um, we'll try and help you out with that. So then comes the part that students are surprised about with an e-learning course. Yes, I'm requiring you to have paper, pencil, pen, also colored pencils, because color is very helpful in our learning, and we're going to be drawing some pictures that require some color, calculator, and ruler. So why paper? You will be making notes in this course. Um, it is not you just read through the material, you don't copy it and paste it, you actually put pen to paper. And why? Because the research, thousands and thousands of research papers, you state that you learn best by either writing pen to paper, drawing pictures pen to paper, pencil to paper, or typing in your own words. All of those are very, very good for learning. So I'm not going to dispute the research. When um, people that are learning, it's not, I guess everyone's a student if you're learning. Um, that copy and pasting, it's not, you don't learn anything. You have to at least write it in your own words. And so I am requiring you to make notes. Now, if you choose not to use paper and you use a word processor, that's fine, but it has to be in your own words. And what I find is students will just copy and paste. And I don't want that. That's a waste of your time, and it does nothing to help you learn. And you know from my introduction that my passion is really about student learning. How can you learn the material best? Is it hard work? You betcha. I'm trying to make it help you out a little bit by saying, okay, take the time to make the notes in the course. So you can read through that. General policies. There's some plagiarism that it's easy to happen with computer work, and you do research and you copy and paste some language, and it's easy to do that, but it's also easy for me to find it with the um, kind of the plagiarism checks. Um, so just be cautious of that. And then our cheating, where you know uh, sometimes we do a situation where we might work together with someone else in the class, and then you end up producing the same amount of work because you did it together. You can't do that. You have to really write your own stuff. You can share ideas, but then when you go to write it, you need to be totally separate so that I can see, yep, they got the same results from, let's say, an experiment or something like that, and but you still wrote it differently. Your interpretations might have been a little bit different. So just be cautious of that. Student information, tips for success. You can read through that. It's just really staying motivated, which can be hard, but checking every day. You have to get on the computer and you have to look at, okay, what are my announcements? What are my announcements? You may be busy for a couple days. That's okay. Set a block of time that you're going to complete that work. Okay, meet the teacher. And we've already kind of gone through a few things about that. Note making, Cornell note making. Some students will say to me, I don't know how to make notes. This is fantastic. Tons of research done on how to make really, really good notes. I'm going to leave that for you to go through. If you do have questions about that, I love teaching students how to make notes. So just check in with me and I can help you out. Referencing in science, I have one about referencing. Some students will send material or sorry, be researching and not sure if it's credible or not. This is something that, right, it's in the content section. It's something you can refer to. I've done the work of going through and saying this is a good condensed version of referencing and getting good, credible websites. And it goes through the instructions on that. Again, I'm not going to read that through for you, but know that having credible, because I'll even say that this is not a credible site, or you'll be asking me questions and I'll say, did you get that information from a credible site? And this is where I'm drawing that from. And then we go into our first unit, which this will look different, but that's not what this video is about. So that's the material. Whoops, I should go back. That's the material I want you to go through. And I'm allowing you time for that because I want you to take the time to go through and say, hey, I really need to know what the course is about, know what my expectations are, know how I'm going to be assessed, how can I reference credible, and if I'm stuck on note making, there's these resources that are available to you. Okay, that's it for this video.